Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is David Beeson. I am your host for today's conversation, and my guest today is Matt Phelps, the owner of APEC Engineering and Laboratories. We are going to be talking about his business journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to operate a business. Matt, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here today. I would love for you to give us a little bit of background on who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Sure, David. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'm very excited about this. I love being an entrepreneur. I love being in business for myself. It's something that has been a wonderful event for me. I grew up in a small town in West Texas, the son of a farmer and rancher. I grew up as a working cowboy on a ranch and did that type of work until I started college. I got a BS degree from West Texas State University in ag business and economics. And then I became a farmer and rancher myself, and I did that for 12 years. Then I decided to go back to school and got a master's degree in ag engineering from Texas Tech University and began working as a civil engineer. After I acquired the required amount of experience, and I had passed the fundamentals exam. I then took the principles and practices exam and earned my professional engineering license in Texas. I have since earned my PE license in a total of about 32 different states at one time or another. Of those, about 25 of them are currently active. Then 6 years ago, after I had gone back to graduate school, I earned my PhD in engineering from Texas Tech, and I graduated with a PhD in systems engineering and management from Texas Tech about 6 years ago. And I realized in order to do most of the work I do is forensic engineering of storm damaged buildings. And I realized that I would benefit and my clients would benefit by me having knowledge of meteorology. So I went back to school again, at this time at Mississippi State, with an online degree and got a master's degree in operational meteorology and graduated this past December at the age of 66 with a master's degree in operational meteorology from Mississippi State. Now, all of these were done because there was a need, a business need for this education. So like all small businesses, we started out with a business plan, and I'm very fortunate that I'm a graduate of the Goldman Sachs 10,001 Small Businesses. I graduated from that program through the Houston Community College about 12 years ago. And it gave me a really good fundamental education in what activities are worth performing that have a real return, a real value to the business owner in starting a business. And so I worked my way through all of those things. This was a program that lasted for about 9 months. And I'm very pleased with what I was able to learn and what I've been able to apply almost continuously since then. And it does start out with a good business plan. But one of the things that makes a good business plan is a real simple but very straightforward activity called customer discovery, where you have a written out list of questions that have only 1 or 2 word answers or maybe a numerical answer, so that you can compare different categories of businesses or different categories of customers from one category to the next and get the range of data within a specific category of your clients or potential customers. And so the customer discovery process was extremely valuable for me, and I'm very grateful that I learned how to do that and went through that and have used it several times repeatedly since then. Every time we launch a new product or a new line of service, we go through that customer discovery process, and it's been very, very valuable to us.
Yeah,
So
that sounds awesome.
I would encourage all listeners, businessmen and women, entrepreneurs, to make sure that you have done a robust customer discovery process, because that's where you're going to get the most information about who your customers are, which ones are willing to pay for your service, and which ones have the ability to pay for your service. There's nothing more disappointing to a business owner than to go through the process of qualifying a customer and get down to the last step and find out that they're penniless and they cannot afford your service under any conditions. Well, that's one of the very first things that you should find out. So, in qualifying somebody through the customer discovery process, that's the thing that you're going to find out. You know, how much
Yeah.
value does your potential customer place upon your service? And that's that's imperative that that the businessman or woman know that and know how to utilize that information.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, we'll kind of pull it back a little bit. I'm curious. So what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you the sole founder and owner? Do you have a business partner? Are there outside investors?
We're an LLC. We're started here in Texas. The owners are me and my wife, Carol. We have about 19 employees now. And mostly what we do are the forensic investigation of storm damaged buildings. For example, uh, an insurance company doesn't understand the damage to a building and they will employ us to go out and investigate it. Or a property owner may tell us that their insurance company has denied their claim, but they feel like it is legitimate. And so we will go out and do an investigation for them. Now, we're different from other engineering firms in that we're also a laboratory. Our laboratory is accredited by the International Accreditation Service, and we are accredited for about 28 different standard methods of investigation that include things like roof shingles, single ply membranes, windows, certain structural elements that we can go out and test it and find out if it's performing the way that it was intended to, or the way that it would have when it was new, or the way that it was prior to the damage or prior to the loss. And so then we also, because I am trained in meteorology, are able to assess the storm and determine, does the storm possess the attributes that would have produced the damage profile that we have documented. And these are the things that, and it's legitimate for an insurance company to want to know this stuff. And they may not get it from the engineer that they hire. A lot of times, engineers that work exclusively for insurance companies only always find in favor of the insurance company, it seems like, and that they don't find damage that is otherwise discoverable. Now, sometimes there is a legitimate reason for that. Their client did not authorize them to collect any samples. We collect lots of samples, we bring them back to our laboratory and test them, and we can confirm, yes, it's damaged, or no, that it's not. And that's one of the reasons we have been so effective, is that we are able to do that when other companies are not, because we do have a laboratory, we are accredited for the methods that we perform, and we're, quite frankly, quite good at it.
That's awesome. Yeah. So this is one of my favorite questions to ask. I'm curious, based on your experience, if I were to give you an extra 10 hours back each week, how would you invest those hours?
Um, Probably not in business. I would probably use them for personal things, because, David, I typically work between 80 and 100-hour weeks.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have much of a personal life. And, you know, and yet I was able to go through and get a PhD and another master's degree in meteorology during all the time that I did this. And the reason that I could do it was one simple thing, one simple fact, is that a I had a secret weapon, and her name is Carol, my wife. So I would encourage everybody, make sure you have the buy-in from your spouse. They are so important and so motivating. I never could have done what I have done if it hadn't been for my wife, Carol.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, um kind of jumping over into sales. What does your sales process look like? Like how do you um I know that you said that clients a lot of time are given to you through the insurance and it's a lot to do with insurance, but how do you guys go about finding these clients and finding work?
Well, we have a website. I speak at a variety of conferences throughout the year. In fact, I'm speaking at a conference in Dallas later this week. And these conferences put me in front of business owners who manage properties or who manage homeowners associations or condo owner associations. I go to some conferences that the attendees are specified for their group, which are um, education or public school districts. Um, for example, the City of Lubbock ISD or the City of Dallas ISD. Those are very large groups that own hundreds, sometimes thousands of buildings. And so we do a lot of work for different independent school districts around mostly in the state of Texas, but we've done them in other states as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um
But I would say that, you know, getting in front of the customer really begins with the customer discovery process, in that you know who your clients are going to be. You know the groups of people that represent those clients. And so you line yourself up with conferences and speaking engagements that are addressing those groups of people. That's the reason that later this week I'm addressing property managers, HOAs, and condo owners associations. So those are important groups to us because they represent large numbers of properties. And frequently, unfortunately, when there is a weather related disaster, if it affects a given property, odds are it affected all the neighbors around it. And
mm,
so we do large amounts of work in small areas. For example, even a hurricane, which is one of the largest storms that exist, and it may cover hundreds of square miles, but it's within that localized area. Same thing would be true for a tornado, but a tornado path may be less than a mile wide and maybe, anywhere from a mile long to maybe 400 miles long. So there's a lot of different types of storms, and those kind of dictate the type or the location of where our services are needed.
yeah, I grew up outside Houston, so I'm used to hurricanes my entire life. I grew up on the north side of Houston, so we got a
Sure.
hurricane every year, every other year to every two
Uh,
years, it would be kind of around there. So, like Beryl last year, we had Harvey a few years ago, Hurricane Ike all came right through
yeah.
there. So,
And I worked every one of those hurricanes, and some of them we had hundreds of cases.
yep.
The just a few, not that many. But like we're still working on cases from Hurricane Beryl right now. I've got five, six active Hurricane Beryl cases today, right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's terrible what some of that damage does
Oh,
to
it is.
people's
It's
houses.
horrific. I was at a conference in Atlantic City one time, and a little guy came up to me and said, "You make your living off of other people's misery." And he said, "What do you?" He says, "Fella, what do you pray for?" And this guy came up and was very hostile. And I said, "Well, I'll tell you what I pray for. I pray to be part of the army of men and women that are there after the catastrophe to set things right and help people get their lives back on track." Now, the thing that I really like about this story is that this guy approached me in a very aggressive, hateful way. He left as a friend.
Yeah.
And I think that he was legitimate in what he thought. I mean, he wasn't just being, a bad guy. And once he learned the truth, and he embraced that and he understood it. And it completely changed his perspective of people that do work like what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that's a really, really cool and powerful story. Um,
Well, it's very helpful. We help a lot of people, and we don't get paid for all of them. I've done
yeah.
dozens of churches for free. I've done work for single moms. I've done work for police officers that have been injured in the line of duty, firemen, uh, almost every group of public servants you can think of. And we do that for one simple reason: it pleases my Heavenly Father. And that's the reason we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm curious, you said that you work 80 to 100 hours a week currently, somewhere in that ballpark and range. If you could give me maybe like a slight breakdown of like kind of like where you're spending your time whenever it comes to the business mostly.
I spend probably about 20% of that time communicating with current clients on the status of projects and helping them make decisions. Sometimes we have to tell our client, I'm sorry, it wasn't caused by the storm. You don't need to spend any more money. You need to move on and save your money to fix your house. Uh, that doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen every now and then. And so we want to be the first ones to tell the property owner, stop, don't spend any more money, including money with me, and you need to think about going a different route. I also spend about 20% of my time working for new business or working to get new business. And that is working with people that we've never worked with before, helping them understand the process of what they're about to go through, the things that are involved in it, the things that an engineer can do to help them, and things that we cannot do to help them. Um, I spend probably about 30% of my time working on reports. I don't write
Mm.
every report. I've got a team that helps me with this, that does the research, that assembles the things that I've asked for, and I make sure that they're assembled in the way that I want them, that it's worded the way that I want it to be worded, and some of it I just have to write myself, particularly my opinions and my conclusions. Um, then I probably spend about 5% of my time in depositions. This is a big part. It's important to be able to be an effective expert witness, which I am very fortunate that I have had great results with that. And it's very important to be an effective, not only in depositions, but also in trial. And, every lawyer we work with is a little bit different. Some of them like for you to respond very aggressively. Others want you to be kind of a university professor and teach us the subject. And others want you to just be minimal as you can, use only yes and no answers as much as possible, things like that. So it's important to know who you're working for and how they would like to see you respond. And so we try to do that as much as possible. And then I would say that probably about the last 20% of my work is done in research. So it might be reading, it might be in our laboratory researching how does hail affect a new product that a manufacturer has approached us to test it for them and give them a report about the effectiveness of their product during say a hailstorm or something like that. So that's enjoyable work. I enjoy doing research. I enjoy writing professional papers and getting them published in peer-reviewed journals, and that's enjoyable work, and I enjoy that.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, no, that's yeah. I could see now how it could take 80 to 100 hours with everything that you just laid out
Yeah,
there. That's
it's easy to do, and a lot of it, during the day, I have a lot of interruptions. I've got employees that need feedback. I've got phone calls. I've got guests that are in the lab that want to come and watch the testing being done on their whatever their building materials are. We That's kind of a constant thing. So it's really Early in the morning and late in the evenings and at night is when I get my writing done and my research done, because that's when I have enough quiet time that I'm not having one interruption after another that would keep me from getting done what I need to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll move into a bit of like rapid fire questions. These are some fun ones.
Okay.
All right. So, what is the key to success for you?
I'm sorry.
What is the key to success for you?
I would say hard work, being committed to what our business plan is and working the plan, staying focused.
Gotcha. What is one piece of advice for other business owners?
Get in a business that you love. If you really love it, it isn't work. It's a labor of love. You enjoy it. It's satisfying to you. I've never stayed in a business that I did not love.
Awesome. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. What is a book or podcast you are reading or listening to right now?
Um, One of the books that I'm reading right now is um, the how to interpret an insurance policy. And that's important to me because that's what lawyers and public insurance adjusters and folks like that are doing. I don't do those things, but I have to interface with those people all the time. So it helps me to understand what they are doing. Uh, One of the other uh, books that has been very instrumental to me was a book by a man from Austria. His name was Ludwig uh, von Bertalanffy. The name of his book is Systems Theory, and it taught me a lot about how to think about things in terms of systems and how those systems may react. For example, the interaction between a weather system and a building structural system is very important to be able to understand that, and the systems theory approach gives you a great idea of how to approach that and how to learn about it and how to understand it.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So this is kind of a fun question. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could sprinkle it in one spot in your business, where would it be and why?
That's a very interesting question. I think that it would be in customer relationships because, I'm an engineer. Like most engineers, we're kind of to the point and maybe a little bit dry and, focus more on practicality and performance. And sometimes that doesn't give me the rich personal relationship with the client that they may be looking for. And so I would very much like some of that dust. If you want to ship me a box car load of it, I will be happy to put it to work.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, before we get to the final question of the day, do you want to share with the audience how they can follow you, learn more, or contact you?
Sure. Our email address, my email address is mphelps, my first initial and my last name, mphelps at A is in Apple, P is in Paul, E is in Echo, C is in Charlie, hyphen, L is in Larry, L is in Larry, C is in Charlie.com. So it should read mphelps at apec-llc.com. My cell phone number is 512-748-8199. I am available on it almost 24/7. If you don't get me, please text that number and I'll be happy to respond back to you. And our website is www.apec-llc.com. So you can contact us through our website. You can give us a phone call. You can email us, or you can text us. Any of those will work fine.
Awesome. Well, we've come to the final
Or
question of the
feel
day.
free to come by our laboratory. Our address is 13805 North County Road 1500 in Shallow Water, Texas. Uh, and we have lab tours available. Just call and make an arrangements, and we will be happy to provide one for you and your group.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, like I was saying, we have come to the final question of the day, and that is, what is most inspiring you today?
I think that it's my wife. I want to give her all the things that I could not give her when I was younger or going through graduate school and graduating. And, I am trying to cut back my work hours and make more time for her. And I'm able to do that because I've got a really, really good team of coworkers that are not just able, but are gladly, willingly wanting to pick up the slack and expand more of what they do and their value and get paid more money. So it's been a wonderful thing for me, and and I know Carol has greatly appreciated it and is thinks that that time is probably long past due.
All right. Well, this was a great conversation. I really enjoyed hearing your story. So thanks so much for sharing. Also, I encourage all of you watching to save this show and come back to watch it again because Matt really did have some great insights for business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notifications every time a new conversation drops just like this one. Thanks to everyone who joined us today, and a special thanks to you, Matt, for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, David. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, and I will catch y'all in the next episode.